here. And then let me get us on Facebook. Bum, 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 bum. Do, 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 do. Here we go. Group, boom, go live.
Got it.
There it is. All right. Bryson Decker, thanks so much for coming in the group today, live, kind of just impromptu, coming in our Aspire group, Elevate Mentoring Aspire group live today. We wanted to just really talk to you. You've been in our pro program for a while, and we wanted to talk to you just about some of the deals you're doing, kind of some of the success you're having, kind of what, why you started in our program. So before coming into our pro group, you actually were already doing some deals. You had some rentals, right? I don't know if were you doing any flips, or is your whole strategy kind of our burr strategy or the kind of the hold strategy?
I didn't have any flips on deck. I've done some, but everything was just buy and hold.
Okay, so you run what we call our burr strategy, which is kind of buying a house, fixing it up, and renting it out. And you've got, since you've been in the program, you've got several deals that you've done, and we're just going to break it down for people and make it, the thing that we're trying to do more and more in our group is just make it super simple to understand. So that, so if you've never done a deal, if you've done 100 deals or you've never done a deal, we're going to break it down so it becomes so simple that you're like, yeah, this makes sense. There's certain steps. If I follow these certain steps, guess what? I'm going to have the same success as Bryson or one of our other community members. So thanks again for coming on. You and I talk off and on, and I've even been in some of your houses. I've heard some of your stuff. So since you've been in the pro program, it sounds like you've done 3 deals.
Currently 3. I've got 2 on deck. So
I love it. Okay, so you've got 5 in your world, but you've got 3 that have done or in process of kind of getting to rent ready, and then you've got 2 that are coming up.
Yep.
I love it. So 5. So you're tracking on doing about 1 a month since you come in the program.
Trying to. My goal was 6 a year. So we'll see if we.
Well, you're doing better. You're on target to do 12. Why did you decide because so you had already done some deals, you've had some experience, obviously, and it wasn't your first rodeo, but why did you end up coming into our pro program?
Mainly for guidance. I mean, I had a lot of broken systems. I was making some money, but knew I had so much more potential in me, and I need kind of a wheelhouse behind me to kind of help me put through there, help me through any hurdles I had, and just build my confidence up. And it has. I mean, I'm doing stuff that I would have never done, got out of my comfort zone if I didn't have some support behind me to help me get through it. And so far, everything's been working pretty well. I jump in and ask some pretty juicy questions, and you guys to kind of help me sometimes, So it's something. It's helping me learn faster, and it's helping me fix the things that I've done wrong, so we don't continue to do those.
I love it. And I think that's really what anybody who wants to get to the next level of anything, they look for either coaches, mentors, if you think about it, lawyers, doctors, engineers, everybody pretty much, a lot of people go to college, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. They dedicate 4 years of their life to get out and make, whatever they make, 100,000 a year, 200,000, 3, or whatever the number is. And that's the cool thing about house flipping. We can shorten, or real estate investing, not house flipping, real estate investing. We can shorten that whole thing down to, if you get some good mentorship, some good coaching, you can make some pretty decent income. And even for you on the wealth side, you're building wealth. And you and I've talked about this before. You're building generational wealth. You're not just building wealth for you, you're building wealth for your kids and for their kids. I mean, this is like a legacy play, right?
Absolutely. That's the main.
Yeah, I love that. I love the drive and the why behind it. Okay, so let's get into this. So for people tuning in, one, thank you for tuning in. This was just off the cuff. We didn't even put it out there anywhere. So so we are Facebook Live, but we didn't tell anybody. We just decided to do it. Let's talk about deal number 1. So what's the first deal you did after you got into the group?
I actually had it purchased already, but it was just kind of pushed to the side. It was just a house in Delano. It's kind of a unique property. I bought it on a commercial loan because it's really the only way I knew to just go to the bank, get a loan, and just do
Right.
it.
Mhm.
I could have done it a little different and pulled my money out, but I have decided just to keep it in there.
Okay.
It was a house, 2 bedroom, 1 bath house. Had an apartment in the back, and then a single car garage,
Mhm.
and like kind of a lean-to next to it.
Mhm.
And I bought it in pretty bad shape.
Mhm.
The apartment was rent ready,
Mhm.
and the apartment covered everything except for my taxes
Wow.
on my mortgage. So
Mhm.
I was winning in that aspect.
So you basically bought a property that made money from day one.
Yes, at least part of it.
Yeah.
Yes,
And so it had a house on the front, or it still has. It has a house on the front, and then it had an apartment behind it, and then a one-car garage
attached to the apartment. Yes.
attached to the apartment. Okay. All right. So take us from there.
So bought it 86,000 off the MLS. They had a deal fall through because of some structural issues on the house.
Mhm.
I knew about them when I looked at the house, so it wasn't a big, huge surprise. But so I bought it 86,000 commercial loan, got it through a local bank that I have a good relationship with,
Mhm.
and put my 20% down, bought the
Mhm.
house.
Mhm.
I started turning into the house with was definitely going to make it a 3-1 versus a 2-1,
Mhm.
and started put my plans together. Tore out. I basically cut the whole house in half,
Right.
all the way to the dirt. I
Mhm.
posted on like Snapchat and just little feeds and stuff, but quickly found out it was going to cost a bunch of money to fix it because I had to do
Mhm.
the plumbing, electrical, and some other stuff.
Mhm.
So I shifted with my dreams of doing the house first and then converting the garage into another apartment.
Mhm.
And I hurried up and went and did the apartment. So I
Got it.
had 2 in the back rented
Mhm.
when I started the house.
Okay. And now you've pretty much got the house done, rent ready, or you've already rented it, or where are we at
So
with the house?
kicked the house to kind of the side. I went and did some other projects that I
Mhm.
had around trying to finish up. And I came back to it. I got the house ready to go into a 3-1. And so I rent, there's a 1 bedroom apartment, there's a
Mhm.
studio, and then I have a 3 bedroom, 1 bath house, which I furnish and I rent by the room.
Okay. And so what do you get for those units?
I do 750 for the apartment. I do 800 for the studio, and I do 600 a room. So there's 3 rooms. That's $1,800
And are
on
you
that.
and do you have those three people in them?
I have the whole thing full.
Okay. So you are getting 1,800. It's not that you will get, you are getting. So you've got
Plus
15
50.
plus 1,800. So you've got, I'm literally writing it down, three. So you're getting 3,350 on this deal.
Yep, that's the income coming in.
And then you've got 86,000 in the initial purchase. What did you end up with your rehab costs?
I put 37,000 into it.
Nice. 37,000 into it. So you're into it for 123.
Yep.
If I'm doing my math right. So you're into it for 123, and you're probably paying some of the utilities for those
I pay
studio.
all of it. I pay the utilities and the whole thing. They're around $750 for all the utilities.
Okay. So all in, so 750. So your kind of net-ish is somewhere around 2,600. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2,600. So you're getting about 2,600 in rent for something that you've got 123 on. So you're basically two times, like a lot of times in the Burr strategy and long-term hold world, we would have said, okay, if you've got 123,000 into it, you're gonna want to rent it for somewhere around $1,230 a month. In this
Yep.
case, you've got 123 in it, and you're renting it for double that, right? So
Just,
you're
I was trying to aim for. I didn't really think it was possible, but as it came closer, I was like, wow. you know.
That's awesome. So you've got over $30,000 a year in income on a $123,000 investment.
Right.
And I understand you still have taxes and insurance to pay. I mean, there's a little bit more coming out of there. But even if you take, even if you were to take, even 10,000 out, you're still making 20% plus on this property, and it's paying itself off.
Yep.
Right. I mean, they're paying your tenants. So that's a killer deal, right? That's a killer deal. Okay. So
Yep.
that was the first deal you did. What was the second deal you did?
Second deal, house over kind of by Wesley Hospital, little 2 bedroom, little tiny 2 bedroom, 1 bath. I reached out, or no, I used my HELOC on this property.
Mhm.
I part of the reason why I left that other property was to go finish a basement in my personal property.
Mm-hmm.
Hold a HELOC against it. I
Mm-hmm.
had a bunch of my house I wanted to use, and I purchased the house off the MLS for $52,000.
Okay, and it's a 2 bedroom, 1 bath. You bought it for
Yep.
52. Okay.
We should finish up rehab on it next week.
Okay.
I'll have 4,000 in it.
How much?
14,000 on my rehab.
Got it. So you'll be in it for 66.
Okay,
and then
we're projecting it to probably be somewhere between 90 to 95 ARV.
90 to 95. Okay, got it. So give me the retail on it then.
As far as what I'm not going to sell it. I'm keeping it.
No, but if you were going to sell it, where you think it, what do you think it's worth now or would be?
100, 110 if I could.
Holy cow. So let's just call it 100, right? And I didn't ask you on the other one, but you'd probably be, I don't know. What do you think you'd be on the other?
60, maybe 170.
Yeah, I was going to say probably, right, all day long with that cash number on there. I mean, with the rent you're bringing in, you definitely be at 160, 170. So you built $30,000 to $40,000 worth of equity by just fixing it and renting it, right? Kind of, and then your tenants are paying it down on the first property. On the second property, you bought it for 52. You put 14 in, you're in for 66. It would appraise, you think, somewhere between 100 and 110. So on the low side, 100. So you built $34,000 worth of equity in that one. And then what will that one rent for?
I've got it rented for $1,000 a month.
Already have it rented. Awesome. So you got it rented before you even got it finished, and you're still killing it above the 1% because you're at 66,000. You're renting for $1,000 a month. So you're like 1 point, whatever that is, 1.4, something like that coverage on that one.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So between
That's
these, that's what? That's
awesome.
all of MLS, right? Multiple listing service for those of you who are not familiar with that term. That means it's listed by a realtor, like on realtor.com. You'll be able to find it there. So between the first two properties, you've got roughly, probably 30, 40, 70,000 ish of equity that you've created. And you've got cash flow after you're paying the utilities on the other. You paying utilities on this one too?
I am not.
Good. Okay. So, I mean, that helps you. So you've got about 36,000 or 3,600 a month in income. And so that's what, 42,000. You got about $42,000 a year in additional cash flow. Now I know if you have mortgages, you got to pay those mortgages, but you generated $40,000 a year in income off two properties. Now one obviously had 3 units on. Okay, that's awesome. Those are great numbers. You're killing it.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that one. I was like, well, I don't know. Yeah, they could say no.
Right. And you just made an offer and they accepted it. You negotiated it out.
I'm kind of aggressive sometimes with my offers. I just put an offer out and said, hey, I've got other deals I'm looking at, so I need you to quick. And they did.
Awesome. And okay, what's the third deal? So that's the first two you've done.
Yep.
What's the next deal that you did?
The next deal kind of fell into my lap. A friend of mine that him and his partner flip homes a lot, and they had this one coming down the pipeline. They just need to get rid of it because they had some capital stuff they need to pay for. I bought some properties off him before, and so he just kind of shot it out, kind of nonchalant, like, "Hey, I'm thinking about selling this. This is what I want for it." And I'm like, I can't buy. I got too much stuff going on. And then he shot it to me, and then I was looking it up, and I'm like, oh. So
yeah, I get that.
Out of the plane and built the parachute on the way down.
Right.
I said, you know what? Just send me the contract. I'll sign it.
Right.
And I had backup private money, but I'd never done it. Never really even talked about it. Friend of mine. And so I signed the contract, went and said, hey, I need some money. And they said, what's your numbers on it? And I ran it, and they were like, yeah, that's fine. We'll lay the money. And it's expensive, but I got the deal done.
Okay, so let's walk through what it is and what are the numbers.
Okay, so 3 bedroom, 1 bath. It was about maybe chest level in trash.
Ooh, I mean, it was hoarder house.
Couldn't even walk. So a complete gut.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, gutted everything out of it, including the HVAC, all new electrical, all new plumbing, everything.
Wow.
I built a house. I left the brick and the frame. Anyway, so bought it for 42.5.
Okay.
Realistically, I'll be just shy of 50 in it.
In addition to, okay.
Rehab cost.
Yep.
Also, which you guys know, but I'll tell everybody else, I do a lot of work myself. This one and the one I did the HELOC, I'm doing hardly any of the work myself.
Good for you. And that was a big shift for you, right? That was part of what you learned in our program, right? Was so when you say, and I remember early on, when I've listened to some of what you were doing, and that was a thing you were intentional about, is how do I drop what we call drop the tool belt.
Yep.
And become a real estate investor, not working in every house. And so certainly in our program, we say, hey, you know what, if you want to do your first house or two just to get the experience and you have those skills, right? You've actually done some of that, then, go for it if that's what you want to do. But over time, you really need to assemble people, get people together that can do the trades to get stuff done faster, right?
The speed was what I was after. I can fix anything,
right?
But I can't do it fast.
Right, exactly. Because you've got a full-time gig, and I want to specify that too. You have a full-time job. This isn't like this is your full-time thing.
I work 50, 60 hours a week.
Right, you were right. You work 50, 60 hours a week, and you're a real estate investor that's building wealth. So that's highly commendable. And I love that. I think a lot of the people in our community have full-time gigs, and so we want to say while you can aspire to, and certainly you can become a full-time real estate investor, you don't necessarily have to. You can build wealth for the longer term. That way, if you do get laid off, if you do want to quit your job, or if you do want to pursue other things, you have kind of this nest egg that's building all the time, right? So you've got 92, you'll have 92.5 in it. What will that be worth, you think, when you're done?
Anywhere between 150 to 160.
Yeah, that's what I was. So you'll have at least 50,000, conservatively 50,000 in equity in that, plus the other 70. So you'd have $120,000 realistically. You built $120,000 in the last 3 or 4 months, whatever that's been, maybe a little longer, but you built $120,000 worth of equity. And when I say that, I want you to, just be super transparent with this. That means that you're buying these to rent them, to hold, to build equity, to build net worth. But you could literally put these right back on the market tomorrow.
Oh, and sell them pretty quick.
Sell them very quickly. And you would literally harvest $120,000 above what you've got in for your cost. Right?
Yeah.
And if you looked at that and said, okay, and you did that again in several months, but that's a good year, right? I mean, you made 120 grand.
Yeah.
I don't know what you make in your 9 to 5, but that's a decent number, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're making more than a full-time income as a real estate investor. I guess I just wanted to point that out for anybody tuning in. You're still working your full-time job. This is something that you're learning to scale a little bit by hiring people versus you doing it yourself. But you made $120,000 in the last 4 or 5 months. That's just in equity. Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't count the cash flow. Right. Yeah. Right. Which is more important to you and to, people running our BRRRR strategy. So it's worth 150. What's this thing rent for?
I think I can rent probably $1,250.
Yep. That's exactly where I was at on it. So 1,200 to 1,250. So it's a little closer, but still definitely over the 1% rule that we kind of coach people to, which is, again, covering, you would expect it to rent for somewhere around $925, $950, and you're getting, again, about 130% more. You're getting about 30% more than what a good number would be, right? And right, I mean, in some cases, I know people that are under one, right, on that thing. If they got 100 grand in it and they're renting it for 800 a month or something like that, right? Yeah. In this case, you're definitely killing it. So I don't even know where we were at. I lost track of some of the numbers. We were at 2,600. What was the other one renting for?
The one with the $1,000 on the one with the HELOC, and I'm on for 12. I'm going to advertise 1,250. I think it'll go. It's going to be all brand. It's going to be nice.
All right. So even if I put it at 1,200, we've got 4,800. So you've created almost $5,000 worth of additional monthly cash revenue on just these 3 deals.
Yeah.
So you've made about 120,000 if you went to sell them tomorrow, and I shouldn't say you made, but you've generated $60,000 a year in cash, and then you have to pay your mortgage, you're
Yeah.
in your insurance. I mean, you're going to have some expense out of the 60, that realistically, even if you finance those all, you'd still have about half that as income. So you would have created at least 30,000 in net income
Yeah.
on that deal. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm they say, preparation meets opportunity. Some people call it luck,
Yeah. Well,
but
no, you work, you
I just prepared and wait for the opportunity.
right. And you're running the systems, right? You're running the systems. You're doing, what, Jason and the team have been talking to you. You're great at asking questions in the group. You're great at taking feedback, and you're also great at contributing knowledge. I've noticed you respond to a lot of the other students when they have questions. I really appreciate that too. So what would be, kind of in our, a closing here, what would be your, advice to anybody kind of on the fence, or maybe this is the only thing that they've seen in our group. So they come in our group, they see that, there's several thousand members, they see questions, they see all this stuff being posted. But if they're sitting kind of they've come into the group because they're thinking, either they are an investor or they're thinking about becoming an investor, I guess, what advice would you give them?
Well, you got to have a big why, which is something we talk about in the group.
Yep.
Mindset's probably all of it. The money is, fun and exciting, and the wealth and everything. But if you don't have a big why and you don't have the right mindset, in my opinion, you're probably going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's thinking about starting or joining or doing this, be thinking about those two things: your mind, adjusting your mindset of where it needs to be, whatever, how fast you want to grow or what you're trying to achieve,
Mm-hmm.
and have a why behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And probably 3 deep why, honestly,
Yes.
why, and then why.
Yep.
But if you're experienced real estate investor and you feel like you're doing stuff wrong, you probably are, because that's where I
Right.
was at.
Right.
And sometimes you feel like, well, I'm going to be the guy that's, in a group, full of new guys, and
Right.
that. So there's people that have strengths here and people that have weaknesses here, and we can all lean on each other. And a lot of people within the group that always message me privately on stuff too, and I'm
Right.
willing to. And it kind of goes both ways. I'll message somebody else.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's a good community to have to
Mhm.
keep us honest, and it's a good community to have to make sure that we're not doing something silly.
Right.
But yeah, anybody trying to get started, figure out your why. Go 3
Mhm.
deep on your why,
Mhm.
and then definitely adjust your mindset to get you there.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Well, I feel so grateful and thankful that you are in our program and that you're a part of our pro group, because, of your learner mindset and the fact that you're open to learning and open to contributing the things you've learned, because you're learning a lot because you're doing deals, right?
Mhm.
And so that was, one of the reasons I wanted to have you come on and just speak. It was kind of like, if people have questions, let's get real with not what we say, but what people in our program and in our community and the Aspire in the bigger community, what they're actually doing. And I want to just share that more and more, because we got to help people build wealth. We got to help people, right, build some income so that they're not shackled to the 9 to 5. I mean, that if you had to, if you got laid off, if you got fired, if whatever, that's not going to happen because you've got a great job. But if you did, you know that you could do this and make a living if you needed
Mhm.
to, right? With outside of your 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome. That's incredible. So congratulations. Thank you for volunteering to come on.
Yeah.
Such short notice. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing you in the group and just getting to know you even better and seeing your success. So thank you so much for being a part of our community.
Yeah. And if anybody outside wants to reach out to me about questions, just message me on Facebook. I'm glad to help.
Thank you, Bryson. I certainly
Yep.
appreciate that. So he threw that out there. So feel free to message him if you have any questions. Thank you, Bryson.
All right.
Bye.
See you.